think we're coming up on 10 seconds. I'm going to see here in a minute.
Are you looking?
There we are. Good evening and welcome to Covenant Cafe. We have another exciting evening for you this evening, and I want to thank all that tuned in last Saturday for the live concert of 360. That was a lot of fun, and they did a great job, as always, and maybe we can do that again. Tonight, we have Christopher Bircher with us, and I think most of you know who he is. If I say the word usher, you probably will know who he is, but he does an amazing thing here with paper that I can't explain, and it blows my mind every time I see him do it. So he's going to demonstrate how he does it, and hope you can follow along, and maybe you want to try it at home with a piece of paper and a pair of scissors. But Christopher, the show's yours.
Thank you. And the proper term would be Scherenschnitte.
Speak up a little bit.
Scherenschnitte. First, of course, what you're going to need is paper. If you're going to be using anything other than a pair of scissors, like an X-Acto knife, I suggest either a piece of cardboard or a cutting board so you have something to go through, but we won't be using those tonight. Pencil is also handy, as well as a ruler. I've made myself a template for a 3-fold. Generally, I just use a 2-fold, which you go as you did in elementary school when you first learned to do snowflakes, corner to corner, then corner to corner. The idea is to get it as square as you can, but as you can tell, I can't always get it as square either. But you do the best you can. And one of the other things to make sure of is to remember where your fold lines are. Having cut as many times as I have, I've still made the mistake and wound up with 2 halves instead of 1.
Mm-hmm.
Next idea is, what are you going to cut out? Sometimes it's nice to have an idea in your head. Sometimes you just free flow. Sometimes you need your pencil to help sketch. And remember, the more you fold, the more your paper will tend to somewhat walk. So we will just start cutting and see where we wind up.
Do you have, when you start this, do you have any idea in mind, or you just start going, or do you have a plan?
I sometimes have a plan, but not necessarily know exactly where that plan will wind up. So
this is whatever comes out of your mind.
whatever comes out of the mind, and sometimes it's, all right, I'm going to do this, and oops, I don't have enough room to do that, so we'll just do something else. But we just keep trying and plugging away and see what happens.
Where did this art originate?
For me,
Well, the art, where did it begin in a certain area of the world, or is it?
well,
Yeah.
being Scherenschnitte, it is German, but there is paper cutting all over the world. One of the ones that's my version of a Polish paper cut. I like what they did, so we just gave it a try. But I guess the Germans get it because they're the ones who were able to name it.
The Japanese culture does this as well, do they not?
They do, and I am not very good with Japanese, so I don't know exactly what they call it. But now, don't be afraid to spin your paper, twist it, turn it around. I've had cuts to where I have turned the paper around, left and right. It's like, okay, where do I go? I got right there. I don't know if you saw. I'm not trying to belabor the point, but all right, where do I get from it? A lot I try to cut from the top, but that piece there is going to obviously be cut from the bottom.
Okay. Those of you that are listening, if you have a question, put it in the comments box on Facebook, and we'll try to get you an answer.
And
So
I'll
when did you get into this, Chris?
When did I get into it? Well, my father will say that there is a picture, or a cutting actually, that I did when I was about 3 of my mom going like this.
3?
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course, it wasn't quite as detailed, but you can tell what that was. Of course, you can also tell that obviously I was a little boy, and Mama was not happy with me.
Why not?
Oh, you know how little boys are. We sometimes just get in trouble because we are.
Okay.
But
Have you ever entered any contests with this, or any type of shows, or
I have done several art shows.
speak up a little bit?
I have done several art shows around the valley. I have asked to be in other art shows and been told they have no idea what they would do with the artwork. Of course, most of them don't even bother to look at it, so. But that's okay. They generally don't understand what it is. They think it's just regular cutting out of snowflakes. And that's fine. And cutting out regular snowflakes is good too. It's a hobby, makes a lot of confetti, and keeps you out of trouble, keeps your fingers dexterous.
I bet. Do you use different size scissors, or always something that small? Is that a key part of it, the small scissors?
Well, for me, it is the small scissors. If I'm doing big cutting, then I will cut with a larger pair. But mostly, I just try to do it with the small pair.
We have a surprise guest here. This is Mr. Richard Rudolph. How are you, Richard?
Fine, so you got your cut up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How's it going, Richard?
Fine, you got Band-Aids?
In the car.
Okay.
While you're here, can you tell us a little bit about 2 weeks from now, the steel drums?
And 2 weeks from now, we're going to have Spiritual Steel, and they're going to have a live stream concert with our guitarist, Bill Hoffman, and a vocalist, and we're going to present all kinds of fun music, both from Latin America and some really great religious music done in a calypso way. So we hope that you'll tune in and invite your friends and be with us.
Appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for stopping by.
Right.
And I thought since we were headed into Halloween that we would give a Halloween themed cutting.
Oh, good. Good.
And we will try to get it as quickly as we can without too much delay.
This one right here is pretty intricate. I guess you'd call that a snowflake, a Christmas themed snowflake.
It is a Christmas themed snowflake with snowflakes all around.
You know, how much time did it take to do that, start to finish?
That one was probably, because for the most part, a lot of them don't just go, I start and work on it completely. There'll be other things that come up.
Sure.
But start to finish time-wise, that was probably about 6 to 7 hours.
6 or 7 hours, okay. And I've seen you've done a couple of colleges here. We have, of course, UNC, which, Tar Heels.
Yes, indeed.
Not about the same amount of time, or would that be less because it's less intricate?
Well, that is usually, time is taken up with the drawing out and the planning of it. The one with the snowflakes was more just out of the head, though there was some that I had to draw out because I couldn't quite come up with exactly what I needed to do. But I do have people who request stuff, and the UNC one was one that was requested. And sometimes it's one of those, I start getting, or I get a request for one, and then I start getting lots of ideas, as you can tell with the Virginia Tech one there. I had one idea, and then one idea led to another idea, and that led to another idea. And
Yeah.
sometimes it can snowball.
Yeah.
And
So
sometimes it
something like these two, you kind of have to have a plan. You just can't arbitrarily start cutting. You got to have, I guess, certain things you need to do to make certain things happen.
For me, anyway, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
And that's where the pencil comes in and the ruler, so sometimes you can plot out, okay, exactly where does this go to where it'll look good.
Well, I watched you do this one before we started, and it looked like you were just randomly, you tore this with your hands. You didn't cut that, so,
Yes, I had someone tell me one time that they could not do what I did with a pair of scissors, and I told them, well, you don't need a pair of scissors, you can just rip it. And they looked at me like I need to be locked up. So, it's one of those, sometimes I also have lots of nervous energy. Pardon me a moment, you don't need to see my eyes.
nervous energy?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so that'll be clip, clip here, there.
Do you have a special place you do this, like a studio or a desk, or just you sit in a chair watching TV, or do you have a certain place you go to get away?
I guess you could call it my man cave. I sit down there and sports is good to have on because it's one of those you don't really have to watch it.
Yeah.
It's just something that kind of occupy the mind and while your fingers are occupied.
Well, I have a comment from Kyle Allen. He wanted me to tell you that the UNC paper cut is awesome.
Oh, okay.
He's a little biased there, but he said that's awesome. He also said so is the Virginia Tech one, so I'm sure Elizabeth. was proud of it.
Covering his bases.
Yeah, he's covering his bases.
Well, that's good. And I've had any number of college teams. I've had a couple pro teams. I did do several that were the, probably shouldn't say it, but Washington Redskins. And one of them had the fact that they actually started in Boston as the Braves
Yes, they
before
did.
they moved to Washington.
Yes, they did.
And see, my thought was, is they should have just changed the logo to a potato. They could have still been the Redskins.
Okay.
Ooh, I guess I messed up. I should have started with a joke. So, why don't they serve clownfish in seafood restaurants?
Why don't they serve clownfish in seafood restaurants? Why?
Because they taste funny.
They taste funny. Okay. We're getting a stand-up routine to boot on this. That's good.
Well, like I said, sometimes it's just easier to keep on going.
Well,
And see if you noticed right here, sometimes you think you've got it cut all the way through, but it doesn't quite make it.
all I know is you're making some very small, intricate cuts. The pieces that are falling out are very tiny on the tablecloth here. I don't know if anybody can see that at home, but it's tiny, tiny little pieces coming out of there. So
It looks like confetti.
it does look like confetti, but it's.
There is a purpose behind this.
I bet there. I
And
know there is, but
once I get this all cut out, I will be glad to show it to you so you get the effect of what just happened.
I'm waiting to see that. So you started at 3 with this to some degree. Did you continue on with it or pick it up later in life again?
I always cut, but later in life, someone asked me to cut them a whole bunch of snowflakes, and so I started with snowflakes and kind of ran out of an idea for snowflakes, so I started adding things to snowflakes, like pictures of dogs. I was going to say, do we have anything over there that's
Yeah, the dog's right here, sure. You talking about something like this?
something like that? Yeah. And then it went on to, well, I could do a wreath, and so that's where that one came out with the dog.
Well, this appears to be a certain breed of dog, although I may see another breed in there as well.
No, I think that's all English Springer Spaniel.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It looks like, but like a Labrador, you could do that if you were told or asked to do a specific type of dog, you,
Oh, yeah. I was gonna
well,
say.
like here, yeah, I see that.
See the brown one down there?
Yeah, okay, so you got different, you can do different breeds.
I was gonna say, there's another breed.
That's a bulldog, I see that.
That's a bulldog.
All right, here we go, now we're
There's
into
the
my,
brown one.
now we're into my
Now,
world, there you go, okay.
This one was a picture. And the lady asked me if I could do the picture of her dog. So I cut it out, just like the picture, and I took it to her, and that one took me about 6 hours. And she looked at it and she said, well, the dog's not happy. And it was one of those, well, that's how your picture was. She said, well, can you make the dog happy? So, and I have since run out of copies of where I made the dog happy, but what I had to do was recut the whole thing. I closed the dog's mouth and elevated the tail, ad-libbed, and then she liked it because the dog was happy.
Well, good, well, good. Obviously, something like the one in my right hand would be harder to do than the one in my left, or take more time, I should say. More cuts.
More cuts,
Yeah,
more detail,
okay,
yes.
I got you.
Yeah.
Noel's calling me.
And then I've done religious ones. I don't know if you want to show any of these here.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes I get my inspiration from clouds, sometimes from leaves. This one here was the lady and Jesus and the couple cows there. That was a wood cutting from like the 1600s. I liked it, but I kind of ad-libbed a little on it and made it somewhat my own.
This
But
is
now
very-
the
this is
star,
very- This is very striking.
that one was my own version. I liked it because it was, to me, it's simple, but it gives everything that you need.
Yeah. This is amazing. This one is, when you look at all the intricate detail with the camels and the palm trees and the star and it's just, and the angels.
Yeah, the first version of that snowflake that I cut out, I forgot to include the camels.
Got to include what?
The camels,
The camels, okay.
the wise men. So I had to go back and recut it. Yeah, it's one of those.
The camels are pretty much the same. Does that mean anything?
It just means that I drew them all out at the same time.
Okay, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That is very, very striking, as is this one.
And that one's the one for the life of Jesus. So I figured I had 6 panels to try to get Jesus's life in there.
You got birth all the way to
Crucifixion and resurrection.
Resurrection, yeah. Very, very, very good. Very good. How long ago did you do this one? Is there a date on it?
It might be on the back. 2017.
Okay, I'll look there. I didn't realize you had them on the back.
Yeah, sometimes I name them, sometimes I just,
All right, what's the story on this one?
well, once I did the life of Jesus, it was one of those, I know, being a little cocky on that. Well, can I do the Bible in 6 panels? And
Okay,
trying to figure out, okay, what exactly are the most important features of the Old Testament and the New Testament? And
well, I see Noah's Ark here, the Ark and the animals.
Yep, and I'm sure that there'll be people who argue with me on that, but to me, the first most important thing is creation.
Creation,
So we got the world being made,
yeah, right here,
then you have the ark,
the Ark,
and then Noah with the 10 Commandments.
Ten Commandments, I see that.
Moses with the 10 Commandments.
Moses, yeah.
So that was the Old Testament. And then I wanted to do something with the New Testament. And the more I got to thinking, I was hoping to possibly do something different than what I had done with the life of Jesus, but I came up with the only three, or the three most important features out of the New Testament was birth, crucifixion, and resurrection.
Yeah.
And again, I'm sure there will be ones who might argue with me on that. I'll be glad to recut it in something else.
Well, I think you captured it fine.
All right.
This one says the Church of St. Peter and St. Paul. What's the story behind this one, Chris?
That was a commission by a lady who wanted to have a cutting for her minister. And so I gave her two different options. And surprisingly enough, she didn't like that one. She took the other option. But the church itself had 11 different stained glass windows.
Oh, I see around the side there you got.
And so I did the picture of the church itself in the center, the stained glass windows around, and then on the pulpit was hanging a cloth with the design of the emblem at the bottom. That's one of those that just kind of spoke to me. It's, I guess, the epiphany of it.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah. When I was getting all my stuff ready, I got couple black pieces of paper just blank.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this way if I cut out something in white, I'll know what to put it on. And here I come in and you had this nice black tablecloth waiting for me. It's like, wow.
I was thinking ahead.
You were, and I appreciate that. That helped out a lot. And you can fold as many times as you want, but bear in mind that the more you fold, the more the paper tends to walk.
Yeah, move on you.
And it'll move, yeah. And even though you've got what looks like the same design all the way around, there's going to be just shades difference because of what I call paper walk.
Yeah. I have to ask, what's the significance of this? I'm trying to follow this one.
That was a medical
Yeah, I see the symbol.
snowflake. I had a nurse want one, and she didn't know what exactly she wanted, so I did that, and then the one that's underneath it was similar to it, and I was able to cut her name
Wow.
with it. And
Look at that needle. That is straight as an arrow and got a point on it. That's unbelievable.
yeah,
And those are Band-Aids and
yes, you'll
Really?
find this hard to believe. I can cut a straight line here, but you go to cut wrapping paper at Christmas time, I couldn't cut a straight line to save my life.
well, at least you're honest. Oh, look at the tiger. Look at that.
And the other fun thing is colors.
Yeah.
So I do a lot with white paper and then usually a darker background, but you can change the color of the paper that you cut, change the color of the paper that you put it behind. I've had a number of people frame these. I've done wedding announcements, birth announcements. Just
Well, I see you're an equal opportunity cutter. You hear the cats. You can't forget the cat people.
can't forget the cat people.
Yeah. So that's interesting, intricate.
And then we got some birds next to it, or underneath it. Birds and trees. I think you'll find some hummingbirds in there.
I'm looking, Chris. I see leaves.
You don't see any hummingbirds?
Not yet. I'm sure they're there if you say they're there. Hummingbird.
Let's see, there's one right there.
I'll be darned, there it is. Wow.
That one's come up, that one's come up.
Hummingbird right there and here. That's I see them now. That's incredible. Wow.
I did a, I won't call it a marriage announcement, but it was to commemorate a marriage, and was trying to, I had met the lady down at McDonald's over here, and she'd asked me, well, how long do you think it's going to take you to do this? And she'd give me about 2 months before the actual wedding date. And it's one of those, well, give me about 2 weeks and I should have something. Well, driving home, I got about a block away from that McDonald's, and my muse came and the epiphany hit, and I almost wrecked the car because I saw what I needed to cut. And after I got it cut out, and I had put hummingbirds on it, just like at the little itty bitty ones. And she had only told me briefly what she wanted, and that was never spoken of. And so when I took it to her and she was looking at it, and she got real close to the edge, because they were real small like those are.
Yeah.
And she said, my daughter and I, one of the things we like together is hummingbirds. And you put that in there for me. I was like, well, someone else guided my hand on that one, so I can't really take the credit for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. What's the story on this? Are you doing Christmas cards now, or?
I've actually done some cards. I should have brought some. I got little itty bitty cards, but this, someone wanted a holiday theme one, and then they never showed up for it, so I am still in possession of it. To me, it was one of those, I did it as looking out a window, and you got some of the frost on the window and the tracks.
Wow. Wow. Interesting.
And sometimes, yeah, you just let your mind wander.
So you do a lot of things that people contract you to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I try to, when I do get a commission, just keep everything at a certain low price. Because I figure most people don't have much money to waste or spend on something like this, but I try to make it unique, personal. I was going to say, where's the ones with the names on them?
With the who on them?
There's some names.
Names? I'm looking.
Yeah.
I'm looking for you. Keep cutting.
Oh. I was going to say, should be a yellow one, have Eli on it. Ooh, that might be right there.
All right, I'll see if I can get it out for you.
And actually, there'll probably be some more underneath it.
Well, this isn't Eli, but this is something else. I like
Oh, that's
this. I
Eli.
like this. All right. That little SpiderMan and the Green Hulk. There we go.
Yeah, the parameters on that one was Eli, and he likes SpiderMan and the Hulk.
There's
It's
Eli. I see it now.
Okay. So that was another one of those. Can I do it? I don't know. We can give it a try. Surprisingly enough, even when I had to cut out, because if you look, the black is all cut out by itself.
Wow.
That one didn't take very long. And she loved it. Of course, the reason I have that is because I gave her several different color choices.
So you really have a story behind each one of these, pretty much. That's what's interesting, is that you just don't create something. You've done it for somebody, or you have a story behind it, or it's got a meaning.
Yes.
I mean, that's really, really amazing that you can do that.
I was going to say, if you...
Well, it looks like you're getting there on that one. You're getting close to the end, maybe.
We're getting close.
Yeah, okay.
So that way you can at least see what all the little pieces of paper were for.
Yeah, you're getting quite a pile of trash over there.
Oh, yeah. I generally wind up with big buckets of it. We were at Lowe's one time, and they had a Kingsford charcoal plastic tub.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't grill, but I looked at it and went, I can use that to put all my waste paper in, so that way when I go recycling, I've got it all in one spot.
Well, that's good.
So I fill it up.
I noticed you have some here for the armed forces. Is there a story behind those? Or?
I do. I ran into a fella, his daughter was getting her doctorate degree through the Army, and he wanted to know if I could cut something to commemorate that, and I said, sure. So I went and looked, and the Army medical symbol is really bland and ugly. I'm sorry. There's just no two ways around it. So I looked at that and looked at it, and I actually did cut that one out. It's like, well, it is the medical symbol. I said, well, let's see if we can't improve upon that.
Well, I was going to pull this
No.
one out. Looks like you improved on it a lot.
The real Army symbol has stars here.
Yeah.
So I removed the stars and put the medical and put the date that it became,
And here, then you did it in color.
and then added the caduceuses and their motto. And
All right, well, that raises a question. How do you do black and white? I understand. The black is the back paper and white's the paper you cut, but how do you incorporate color into that? Is that something you add later, or is it?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's just, I had to figure out how to cut to get the blue on it, and actually I think the red is behind, the green is over,
Oh, so you layer it.
so layer it, yeah.
Wow. Even that's like, I don't see how you do that, but that's all layered in there so it comes out. Interesting.
And believe it or not, he didn't like that one, he liked
You
just
getting
the
that
plain
front
one.
up? Everybody, don't forget Pranav. He makes all this happen. So again, he's our technical director, which he doesn't like to be called, but we're all very thankful that he is instigating all this live streaming and doing a great, great job. So out there, give him a big round of applause.
Yes,
Can you hear it, Pranav?
appreciate all that you've done tonight. Anyone else have any questions?
I haven't gotten any yet, so that I see. So I guess you're being real self-explanatory.
Okay.
Now, some of our more musical members may appreciate this. What's the story behind this one?
The janitor where Jenna went to elementary school asked me if I could cut his picture. That is, he playing drums. So, as always, I tend to go a little overboard, and so I made this one, and then I made one that was layered that had that, but then he in the bottom of it was tan, and he really liked that one.
Yeah, that's nice. I guess you could do any musical instrument, right? Pretty much?
Pretty much. Give me enough time and enough inspiration.
Yeah, none of this is drawn. It's all cut out. All the fine line detail is all cut out with a pair of scissors. That's what blows my mind, is it just the detail is so intricate, and you're doing it right now with a pair of scissors. So it's just incredible. So how are we doing there?
Oh, we're getting close to the end. How are we doing? Are we?
You're fine. You're
Okay.
fine. You're fine. We're doing fine on time. So it's really fun to watch you do this, and at the same time, it amazes me that how you know what you're doing, and I don't.
That's also one of those. One of the tines on this one is a little sharper than the other, so I used that for my puncture. And it's one that if you don't put something behind it, you can get blowout. So I tend to wind up with lots of little puncture marks in one of my fingers.
You ever get any blood?
I have,
That will mess up your cutting.
yeah, I have had some that, well, I'll recut that one. But the other thing again is one of those, you gotta make sure when you're starting out that you make sure you have your axis on the right plane. Like I said, I have several that, well, they were beautiful. They still are beautiful, but it's now a two-piece instead of a one-piece.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna put something up here that you did, a couple of years ago. This is something you gave the church, which, just want everybody to see it. I don't know if the glare, tell me if I need to tilt this up or down, Pranav, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Everything okay? You can see it? Okay. And that, if you can see it at home, I mean, you've got the church cut out several times, the actual building with fine line detail, including the cross and the stained glass, and the lettering is just, it's perfect. But that was his gift to the church here, but 3 years ago?
Yeah, probably about 3 years ago.
Yeah, about 3. So, again, that's a fine, fine piece of art there. But this was made exactly what you see him doing tonight, the same way. I mean, all these on the table, what he's doing right now is creating the same way that everything you see on the table tonight. So that's what is just so amazing to me, that he knows how to cut just a certain way to get a certain shape, design, or line, and that's what just blows me away. So I'm very anxious to see what you're going to wind up with here, because it looks like something, but it's going to look like something totally different when you unfold it. So I look forward to that.
A lot of times, and I know this is probably mean to me, but at home I will cut it and then take it to Leslie and have her open it up. I know, that's not very nice of me.
Well, okay.
Sometimes you get so excited that,
Yeah, the other thing I want to ask you is there a society of people that do this like you, or a club or anything, or is it just you're one in a million, which I know you are, but I mean, just, is there other people doing this that you know of?
not around here. I have seen some things that people have shown me on the internet that this is what they've done. I joined a local art group, and they're amazed at what I do, but they don't know how to critique it.
Okay.
And as I was saying earlier, I have entered into or attempted to enter into several art contests, and well, we don't have any place for you. It's like, okay.
Well, that's I guess a compliment at one point and sad in the other, but
Yeah.
So
'Cause it's one of
do
those-
you have to have a special kind of paper, or just regular copy paper, printer paper?
I'm sure that most people would say you probably have to have a good type of paper. I just use regular copy paper. I got it by, go out buy a ream 500 sheets and cut to my heart's content. And the scissors I picked up about 20 years ago and dread when they get dull, because I have never found another pair like it. And I think I paid $1.49 for them. And yeah,
So a ream of standard copy paper, you're a happy boy.
ream of, yep, I'm a happy individual.
Well, that's good. So it's not an expensive hobby, it's just something that takes a lot of time.
Yes. And as you can tell, it keeps my fingers away from potato chips, so.
I hear you. I hear you. So,
Christopher, we have a question from the audience, and the question is, once you cut something one time, can you replicate it exactly from memory?
Exactly from memory? No. Because there's been several that I have messed up on and wanted to recut it, and I can get close, but it's usually a one and done. Now with the like the flat ones where it's just a single image, like this, or this one. That I'll cut multiple sheets. Usually you don't want to go past about 4 sheets, 5 sheets at most, and a lot of times the 5th sheet is just scrap, so it won't tear the sheets that are in front of it. So those get multiple images, but even those, there's slight differences in them all. Now that one was fun.
Yeah, that
That
was
one,
obviously about a horse.
yes. The grandmother wanted something for her granddaughter. Her granddaughter's name was Alexandra. And she liked horses in blue. So that was my parameters to do that one. So I cut that out, took it into the grandmother, and she said, well, what's all this stuff down here? I said, well, it's the reflection of all that. He said, oh. And after Christmas, I saw her and she said, you know, when my granddaughter saw that, the first thing she said was, look at the reflection of my name. So, well,
Yeah, you got it.
put our eyes back on and,
Yeah. Well, on average, do you do this once a day, once a week, once a month? I mean, how often do you cut these? Or it depend on what people want?
depends on what people want.
So you just don't do it for the
And-
fun of it?
Well, I can do it for the fun of it. I'll be honest with you, right now my muse is kind of left, so I've had no inspiration. I've looked at clouds and trees, but it still hasn't spot. But when you asked for me to do this, I get a lot of inspiration walking the dog. So when I was walking the dog, I came up with 2 different things. One was spider web, and the other one was a pumpkin. The reason I chose spider web today was walking the dog this morning. What did I see at 2 different locations? Beautiful spider webs.
Yeah.
So are we ready to, I guess we'll do it over here since I've got a lot of garbage here. Do you want to do it?
No, you go ahead. I'm just absolutely blown away, Chris, with what you have created there while I'm sitting here. I'm seeing it as it unfolds, but there are things in there that just, I didn't know you were doing that. I mean, the cat with his tail bushed out, the bugs, spider web, the witch's hat,
And then don't forget the witch's broom.
and the witch's broom. There you go.
And
So
a cat and a spider.
I hope everybody at home can see that.
Can you see that good? Because, I mean, there it's kind of bubbled. You get enough weight on it and it'll flatten out and it'll tend to look a little better.
That is absolutely just incredible. And you did that with scissors, these little guys. Let me see this. So that was all you used as a tool, is just this little guys, and your mind, of course, but you know exactly, I mean, how do you know how to create those? I mean, that's where I lose you. Unless you don't want to share that secret.
Well, my first cats were just arched back and tail. And after I got to looking at them, it was one of those, well, it doesn't look like a scaredy cat. I was like, well, how can I make it look like, well, the typical picture is the fur all puffed up. It's like, okay, how do I do that? So it just thinking about it, and as you can tell, there's some of them where what got cut probably is still sitting in there, these little itty bitty pieces.
I mean, the bristles on the broom right there, it's just, it's just, again, like I said, it blows my mind that you know how to do that, so. Have you got that case with you with a little furniture?
I do. Would you
I'm
like
gonna,
to-
I'm gonna get Chris to show us something else that he's gotten off into another hobby, and real quick, if you take us a few minutes to show some of the things he's doing, bring that toolbox of things that he's doing with wood. And, this will equally blow your mind because it's so small and intricate, even in its smallness.
I gotta have your ladders.
You gotta have your ladder. There you go.
My daughter one time wanted a dollhouse for Barbie not to play in, but to play with. So I had to make her a dollhouse. So we made the dollhouse. And then, of course, you can't really have a dollhouse without making some furniture. So I don't know if you'll be able to see the furniture here.
We can zoom in on it probably.
We'll put it on that to be a little bit lighter. So there's a dollhouse for the doll. And then end tables, a couch, beds, second end table with a light, TV stand with a TV, some more beds, chest of drawers, a high boy, another high boy, couple tables. And we have, oh, the grandmother clock doesn't want to stand up, but the grandfather clock will. Or maybe not.
Wow,
There we go.
wow.
And then, of course, what house is incomplete without a tool chest? So, we made a toolbox. And of course, you always want your toolbox to have the lid be able to stand up. And you have chisels and hammers, wrenches, screwdrivers, and then in the bottom, some more tools. Coping saw, square saw, regular saw,
And you carved all this out of wood.
all of it out of wood.
My God. That's incredible. It's equally as incredible as your paper art. So you just never cease to amaze me, Christopher.
Oh, well, thank you.
So,
And last, a chest of drawers with brass poles. And of course, what chest of drawers wouldn't be complete if they didn't work?
okay. Christopher, again, you never cease to amaze and entertain with your wit and your just your ability and your talent. And I really, really appreciate you taking time to come in here and share this with us. Any thought you want to leave with us, or?
Don't be afraid to try. Go out on a limb, grab a piece of paper or a piece of wood, and see where it leads you.
Do you carve those with a pocket knife, or you got an X-Acto knife, I guess?
I do some with X-Acto knife, and I have some micro chisels,
Okay, all right.
which are hard to find.
Okay. Well, listen, again, I thank you for doing this. I'm sure everybody enjoyed this, and again, it's just mind-blowing of what you're doing, and I wish you all the best and continue doing that, and
Well, thank
who
you.
knows what you might get into just yet. So,
And if anyone has any questions later on, call me, email me. I think it's in the directory.
yeah.
I'd be more than happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Okay. Well, again, I appreciate it, and thank you, and I'm sure everybody out there appreciates it. Next week, we've got another special cafe with Jim Eaton coming back to Covenant's Own Kitchen to do another cooking show. Details of that will be coming out shortly with recipes, and I hope you'll join along with it. This one is going to be, I think, a little bit easier than the last one, but just as spectacular. And again, the week after that, you heard from Richard Rudolph about the steel drums coming in. So, and then on the third Wednesday in the month, we're having a special program from a representative from the Feeding America to talk about what the challenges are and what they do. So, hope you have enjoyed this, and I hope you can join us in the weeks to come. And with that, I'm going to say good night and go in peace.